The average American car payment just crossed $735 a month. Not a luxury car. Not a Ferrari. Not some exotic lease that only makes sense if you're writing it off as a business expense. The average. The regular person. The teacher, the nurse, the guy in accounting who brings his lunch every single day and still cannot figure out why he is always broke. $735 every month. And for trucks and SUVs, which happen to be the best-selling vehicles in this entire country right now, that number does not stop at $735. It goes to $900, to $1,000, to $1,200 a month. I have seen loan documents where the total repayment amount is higher than what most Americans earn in an entire year. And here's what gets me. Nobody is flinching. People are signing these loans like it is completely normal. Like a $900 a month car payment is just part of adult life now. Like this is just what cars cost, and there is nothing to talk about. Meanwhile, those same people are telling me they cannot afford to save for retirement, cannot build an emergency fund, cannot seem to get ahead no matter how hard they work. And I am sitting here thinking, yeah, I wonder why. My name is Mason, and this channel is called Mason Explains Wealth because I genuinely believe most people are not broke because they do not work hard enough. They are broke because nobody ever showed them what their decisions actually cost them in real numbers. Not the monthly payment number the dealership puts in front of you. The real number. The full number. The number that changes how you feel about that car sitting in your driveway. And today we are talking about cars. Because I think the modern car payment is one of the most effective wealth-destroying mechanisms in America right now. And it is hiding in plain sight dressed up as a perfectly reasonable monthly expense. If that is the kind of honest money conversation you want to have, subscribe. Let's get into it. Here is how this actually plays out in real life. Your car starts acting up. Nothing catastrophic. Maybe a weird noise. Maybe it needs a repair that is going to run you $1,200. Maybe you are just tired of driving something with 200,000 miles on it, and you feel like you have earned something better. So you start browsing, just to see, just out of curiosity. And the moment you do that, the machine kicks in. You walk into a dealership just to look around. The salesman is friendly. The showroom smells like new carpet and fresh ambition. And he does not ask you how much you want to spend on a car. He asks you what monthly payment works for you. And whatever number you say becomes the ceiling he works backward from. Not the price of the vehicle. Not the interest rate. Not the total amount you will pay over the life of the loan. Just the monthly number. So you say something like, I could probably do $650 a month. And he nods like that is completely reasonable, punches some numbers into his computer, comes back with a payment sitting right at $648, and suddenly you are signing paperwork on a $38,000 vehicle that you came in to just look at? That is not an accident. That is a system. A very well-designed, very profitable system. And it works on smart people. It works on people who consider themselves financially responsible. It works on people who read budgeting articles and listen to money podcasts, and still somehow walk out of a dealership with a loan they did not fully understand until they got home, sat down at the kitchen table, and actually did the math. According to Edmunds, the average loan term on a new vehicle right now is over 69 months. That is nearly 6 years. And a growing number of buyers are taking 72, 84, even 96-month loans. That is 8 full years of payments on a vehicle that will lose roughly 50% of its value in the first 5 years. That is the setup. Now let's talk about what this actually costs you. Let me walk you through a real scenario with real numbers. $38,000 SUV. $2,000 down. $36,000 financed at 9.4%, which is right around the current national average for new car loans, spread over 72 months. Monthly payment comes out to $640. That sounds manageable. That sounds like something a responsible adult handles. Until you finish the math. Over 72 months, you pay back approximately $46,000 total. You borrowed $36,000. That means $10,000 of everything you paid bought you absolutely nothing. No car, no equity, no asset of any kind. Just interest. Just the cost of borrowing money. Gone. But we are not done. The moment you finance a vehicle, your lender requires full coverage insurance. For most people, that jumps their monthly premium by $100 to $150 at minimum. Let's call it $130. Over 6 years, that is an additional $9,360. Gas. A midsize SUV in real-world driving gets somewhere between 22 and 26 miles per gallon. For an average American commute plus normal weekend driving, you are spending roughly $200 a month on fuel, and honestly, that is being conservative. Over 72 months, that is $14,000 for $100. Routine maintenance, tires, oil changes, annual registration fees. Realistically, another $4,000 to $5,000 over 6 years. Now add it all up, you spent approximately $74,000 over 6 years on a vehicle that at the end of those 6 years is worth somewhere between $12,000 and $16,000. $74,000 out of your pocket. $14,000 asset sitting in your driveway. That is the actual cost of that monthly payment. Not $640 a month. $74,000 and 6 years of your financial life pointed in the wrong direction. Now here is where this stops being just about cars and starts being about your entire financial future. That's $640 a month. What happens if it goes somewhere else? What if instead of a brand new SUV, you bought a reliable 3-year-old used car for $11,000 cash, kept your existing insurance premium, and invested that payment every single month instead? $640 a month going into a basic index fund, earning 8% annually over those same 72 months. You would have just under $60,000, not counting the money you saved on insurance premiums, not counting the lower registration fees on a used vehicle. Just the investment account alone, $60,000 sitting there, compounding, growing, building actual wealth towards something real. The other choice leaves you with a 6-year-old SUV worth $14,000 and $0 in investments. That gap, that nearly $50,000 difference, that is what a car payment actually costs you, not the monthly number on the contract. The future account balance you never built because every dollar was already promised to a lender. And this math gets significantly darker when you zoom out. Because most Americans do not buy one car and drive it into the ground. They buy a car, get tired of it after 4 or 5 years, usually before the loan is even paid off, roll whatever they still owe into the next loan, and repeat this cycle for their entire adult lives. Every single time they do it, they are paying for a car they no longer own while simultaneously taking on fresh debt for the new one. That is not transportation. That is a permanent, recurring tax on your financial future that never goes away because the cycle never stops. So why does this keep happening? Why do smart, hardworking Americans keep walking straight into this trap? Because the entire car buying experience is engineered specifically to make the worst financial decision feel like the most rational one. Think about how dealerships actually operate. The conversation almost never starts with the total price of the vehicle. It starts with monthly payment. What are you comfortable with per month? That one question reframes the entire transaction. Because once you are anchored to a monthly number, you stop thinking about what the car actually costs in total. You stop calculating the interest. You stop thinking about the full picture. You just think, can I handle this payment or not? And the answer is almost always technically yes, which is exactly the problem. The automotive industry also figured out something very powerful a long time ago. Cars are emotional purchases. What you drive feels directly connected to who you are, how hard you have worked, and what you deserve. That emotional wiring makes it nearly impossible to approach a car purchase with pure logic. The truck is not just transportation. It is a statement about your identity. And the industry has spent billions of dollars over decades making absolutely sure you feel that way, so that the payment, no matter how large, feels completely justified. There is also the normalization factor. When everyone around you has a $600 or $700 car payment, it stops registering as a problem. It just feels like Tuesday. It feels like the cost of living a normal American life. And that normalization is probably the most dangerous part of this entire trap, because it removes the alarm bells that should be going off every single time someone signs a 72-month loan on a vehicle that costs more than their annual salary. Now let's talk about what you actually do with all of this. I am not going to tell you to never buy a car or ride a bicycle to work in January. That is not realistic, and you know it. What I am going to give you is the framework that changes how you approach this decision, whatever that decision ends up being for your situation. First, stop negotiating the payment and start negotiating the total price. The monthly payment is not the deal. The total price of the vehicle is the deal. Everything else, the loan term, the interest rate, the add-ons, the extended warranty they sneak in at the end, all of it flows from that total number. The moment you let the conversation become about monthly payments, you have already lost control of the negotiation. Second, keep your total transportation costs under 15% of your monthly take-home pay. Not just the loan payment. Everything combined. Insurance, gas, maintenance, the payment, all of it added together, 15%. If you are sitting at 25 or 30% right now, which a lot of Americans are without realizing it, that is the direct and specific reason you cannot seem to save money no matter what you do or how many hours you work. Third, if you finance, never go beyond 48 months. For years, that is your ceiling. If the payment is too high at 48 months, the vehicle is too expensive for your budget. Full stop. Longer loan terms do not make expensive cars affordable. They make expensive cars feel affordable while dramatically increasing everything you actually end up paying. Fourth, seriously consider a 2- or 3-year-old used vehicle. A 3-year-old car with 40,000 miles on it is, in almost every practical sense, the same vehicle as the brand new one sitting on the showroom floor. It costs dramatically less. It depreciates slower from the point you buy it. The insurance premiums are lower. The only things you give up are the new car smell and the feeling of being the first person to own it. And that feeling, it turns out, costs somewhere between $20,000 and $30,000 depending on the model. And the biggest shift of all, start thinking about what the payment is costing you, not just what it is buying you. Every single month that money goes to a lender is a month it is not compounding in your investment account. It is not building your emergency fund. It is not getting you one step closer to financial independence. It is, in the most literal possible sense, your future wealth transferring directly to someone else's balance sheet. Here is what I want you to walk away with today. The car payment trap is not a trap because it is hidden from you. It is a trap because it is completely visible, totally socially acceptable, and nobody ever sits down and shows you what it actually costs over time. $900 a month sounds like a lot when you say it out loud, but spread across 6 or 7 years, bundled into an automatic monthly withdrawal, it becomes invisible. Just another line item. Just what life costs. Except it is not just the cost of having a car. It is the cost of not having $60,000 in investments. It is the cost of not having a fully funded emergency fund. It is the cost of reaching your 50s and genuinely wondering where all the money went when you worked hard and showed up every single day of your adult life. The guy with the $900 payment feels like he is winning. He is driving something impressive. People notice when he pulls up. But the person driving the 3-year-old Honda and investing the difference every month is the one who is actually building something that lasts. Wealth is quiet. Car payments are loud. Run your real numbers. Make the intentional choice. And if this video made you see your own situation a little differently today, share it with someone in your life who needs to hear it. I will see you in the next one.